Right, I'm going to re-record this because I did a 20-minute one. It's too long. It says, I've had a reply from McDonald's Pembroke. Quick recap. I went there and I was told I couldn't do multiple orders. I'd have to go around 4 times in order to get 4 orders. And because I didn't have cash on me, and because we all had cards, and people will say, oh well, just do it in one order. I know people have said this, do it in one order and people can pay you later on. It's just a pain in the arse. It's a lot easier for us just to all hand our cards, just tap them and be done. And it's not awkward, it's not hard for them to deal with that, right? They just chose not to. But what happened was, if you haven't seen the video, I'll put the link below. When we went there, they just said, we don't do multiple orders. And I said, well, what are we supposed to do then? And they said, well, I said, well, am I going to have to go around 4 times to get the 4 different orders? And they're like, yeah, you could do that if you want. And I'm like, So I said, can I speak to a manager? They went away for 5 minutes. Another member of staff comes back, not the manager, right? And tells me exactly the same thing as the first person told me, but with no explanation why. Just, sorry, we don't do multiple orders. And I said, well, look, I'm just going to film this just to send to your head office to prove that you're not doing multiple orders. And they're like, no, you can't film me. It's like, I'm not exactly filming you. I'm just recording the situation, aren't I, at that point? Yeah. But basically, I said, look, can I speak to your manager? And they're like, went away. Wait another 5 minutes. So I'd be now sitting there for 10 minutes and the queue of cars is coming up behind, and the manager could have come to speak to me. Right? That's the first lesson to be learnt, right? It was about midnight. There were no cars there. It was dead, right? And there were about 4 members of staff working in the whole McDonald's. What was the big problem with the manager coming to speak to me? Or did the manager send out another member of staff to speak to me, which pisses people off when they ask to speak to a manager and they just end up getting another member of staff? That to me is like this from the manager. That's what that feels like, yeah, from the manager, right? So then, when the manager finally does come on, we've been there for 10 minutes waiting now. Manager says, because of the way you're treating my staff, we're not serving you now. I'm like, well, how the hell am I treating this staff? I'm not happy that you won't multiple serve us, yeah, but you're happy for us to drive around like lunatics, like literally, like as if we were in a circus. Going around a circus ring, down, 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 going around 4 times to get 4 orders. Really? Yeah. So, but the manager came on. She said, but instead of telling me the reason why we couldn't have a multiple order, she comes on in aggressive mode going, you are the problem customer and now we're not serving you because of the way you're treating us. Really? So defense mode instead of compassion mode, instead of understanding mode, instead of explaining it to me mode, you just get face off the first one. No. Can I speak to the manager? They bring another person out. So you get double face off this one because they're definitely not letting you speak to the manager. And when you do speak to the manager, it's like, no, you're not being served now. Goodbye. Now, that's the problem. So when I drove round to the window, they were all like putting their boards up in the windows. And then one of them gave me the finger like that. The manager was in there and she was like, close the windows and come away. Like, don't speak to them. See, that's the manager's attitude. He's like, ignore them, don't speak to them, don't. And that gives rise to why people then start messing around and doing this, yeah, which is not right. If you ask to speak to the manager of a McDonald's or a manager of anywhere because there's a problem, right? If the staff, which have only been working there for a short amount of time and aren't trained up to know the same things as managers would know, if you ask to speak to a manager, I think it's not unreasonable to be given that manager. Given the fact that there was nobody really there, it was late at night, and the manager was there and could have come over in seconds to make us wait 5 minutes and flip us off with another member of staff, then flip us off by going, you're not being served now, and then flip us off literally in the window, like that, right, to flip us off, and she had an opportunity to come and speak to us 4 times. Literally 4 times she had an opportunity to come and speak to us, and she chose not to. That's a problem. So here's what McDonald had to say about it, right? Thank you for your patience in allowing us to investigate this matter with Pembroke Dock Retail Park Restaurant. As a company, we encourage and train all of our members of staff to be polite, friendly, and courteous to all of our customers at all times. We have therefore taken your complaint very seriously, and I have personally discussed the incident with the management team at the Pembroke Dock Retail Park. At McDonald's, customer care is important to us, and all our staff are trained to speak to others in a polite and friendly manner at all times. There we are. For any member of staff to behave in the manner you describe is inexcusable, and we categorically do not condone such behaviour. Having investigated this with the restaurant, I have to say there's a difference in the details between yours and the restaurant's versions of events. Having spoken with the business manager, they suggest that your dissatisfaction was made clear in such a manner that it resulted in an escalation of events. Well, yeah, I mean, it did. It did. I will accept that, because I said, I cannot accept that we have to be driving around 4 times to get this. I would like to speak to a manager, to which then they don't bring a manager, so it escalates higher. I get pissed off that we have not been allowed to speak to the manager. So when the manager comes, but still doesn't want to speak to me, and just says, we're not dealing with you now, and just like blanks us and click, put the phone down type thing, yeah, and it's like, really? So we just been mugged off, you know what I mean? We have just literally been mugged off by not only the staff, but also the manager in that place. And yes, it did escalate events to the point where I felt it necessary to film and prove that there's a problem with the way that the management are dealing with things at Pembroke Dock. Now here we are, the final word from McDonald's here. They say, I have addressed the comments with the restaurant manager as a matter of urgency. Good. You have my assurance that the necessary action will be taken in response to your complaint. Whilst it is impossible for us to comment on such a situation that we were not party to, I would concede that this incident was extremely regrettable and offer my sincere apologies. There you go. That's how you deal with customers, even maybe an awkward customer like me. That's how you deal with customers. You apologize. You say, there's a reason, here's the reason. We can't deal with you because of head office reasons. We're very sorry. I really do apologize. But if you can do a single order, you know, or maybe you can go in the car park and order with the app, and we can bring your multiple order up that way, you know. No, it's like, no, you're the customer, you're pissing us off, now we're not serving you. That's no way to treat people. This is much better, because this is actually now, McDonald's have been made aware that they are refusing to do multiple orders. Right, the guy who owns the business franchises, he owns 30 McDonald's in West Wales. His name is Ron something. Company's called Lone Tree. He's been made aware of it. So they've been made aware that there's a problem, possibly with the training and attitude of the staff, right, which will only make them better, because if they don't get better, they'll get sacked. Yeah. So they're going to learn. They're going to get better from this. Okay. So that is an achievement. Okay. That may have to come through with training. You know, I would recommend and I would welcome people that need training in order to deal with confrontational situations, right? Get that training, because ultimately they want me as a customer. Yeah, they don't want me to not be a customer. They don't want me to be pissed off, and they don't want me to be doing videos on the internet like highlighting problems at one of their branches, do they? They want us as customers, and as customers they want us happy, and they want us to return. Now, I will never return to that McDonald's in Pembroke. I would never dare return there, right? And it would be like, you know, and that's the problem, isn't it? It's driving customers away just for a simple apology and an explanation. That's all I needed, was an apology for the fact they couldn't deal with it, but give me a reason. Yeah, give me a reason, not just we don't do it because we don't do it, you know. And it's like, and like the kiddie said in the window, oh, we can do it, but we've been told not to. What I need to hear is why, not just we don't do it because we're stubborn. Yeah, why? I want to know a reason, you know. And it's like saying, you know, you can't use our toilets because we haven't cleaned them. You know, and it's like, well, why haven't you cleaned them? You know what I mean? It's like, when you ask for you know, a milkshake, and they say, oh, we can't because the milkshake machine's down. What they don't tell you is the real reason. Well, we all know the real reason why that is now, don't we? If you watch the internet, we know why that is. But the point is, it's like, you know, if you ask what is the reason, because I mean, how many times have I gone to a McDonald's and wanted a milkshake and been told, sorry, the machine's broken, the machine's broken, the machine's broken, the machine's broken. It's like, you know, in the end, you're just like, well, why is the machine broken? Why is the machine broken? You know, what's the problem? You know, so it's like you want an answer. Well, when it comes to this, I wanted an answer. And if you're not going to let me down gently, if you're gonna just be like, get away, nah, 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 nah. If you're gonna be like that with me, of course it leads to this. So I fully thank McDonald's head office for dealing with this like this. They've dealt with it seriously. They've said that there's a slight difference of opinions on certain things, but they apologise. They apologise. I mean, we can't always agree on things in this world. I mean, you know, there's going to be different people with different attitudes and opinions and want things in different ways, and they can't always serve everybody's needs. But at least explain and apologise. Don't be all like, yeah, you're having this and take it or leave it. It's your problem now. You know, that is never going to get you business coming back. So thank you, McDonald's. I'm glad that this has highlighted a problem. I hope it leads to a positive outcome, and that positive outcome is probably going to be training. I hope it hasn't led to any sackings, but at least training in de-escalation and training in customer satisfaction, you know, and handling complaints. And that can only be good, because Pembroke Dock, I think they really do need it. And then maybe people are going to start liking Pembroke Dock more, you know, which is a positive thing. I would hate to see it go down the other way, which, you know, let's not even look at that, you know, but imagine it got worse. It can't get worse. It has to get better. And it has to get better with people like me making complaints and it getting addressed. If people don't complain, it never gets addressed. It could get worse. Yeah. So to all those who said I'm bullying staff and things like that, no, I'm not bullying staff. I'm highlighting a problem. Until you see that there's a problem and it's highlighted, it doesn't get dealt with. People who do not highlight problems in aircraft see the aircraft explode at 30,000 feet, killing all the passengers. I'm the person who will make the complaint, not just sit back and watch things go downhill. So thank you very much. As to all the trolls who don't like the fact that I bully these young staff. Oh, Jesus Christ. They need to grow a pair. They're in the service industry. Anyway, it's just snuff. Good night.